Hi guys.
Do you want to take your business to the next level? Well, we understand the need to stand out from the ever-growing list of competitors locally and globally. The need for more sales, better customer engagement, more media presence. The list goes on. Well, that's exactly why we exist. O Agency is a full 360 marketing strategy, consultation, digital marketing, and advertising agency with a sophisticated team dedicated to see your business thrive. Join our list of happy customers who trust us with the growth of their business today.
Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Okay, so quick test. Anybody, can you guys hear me? Can you see my Cinema 4D screen? Before we continue, you could just drop a comment and give me a thumbs up if everything is fine on your end. Okay, so this is one sample that I found on Pinterest. So Pinterest is like one of my favorite places to check out for ideas, help me conceptualize my new concepts, my new ideas. Whenever I get a job or Pinterest or Dribble, any of those website just to gather experience. Just to gather. Alright. Welcome, Stanley. I can see you. Thank you for being here. Alright, so we want to begin by trying to recreate this afternoon. So we might not be able to completely finish this today. So modeling the can. We'll go ahead and wrap it so that we can start the animation. So this is like an animation, masterclass. I'm gonna just dive into and I'm gonna just dive into Cinema 4D. So if you have seen my videos on YouTube, Cinema 4D Learn Motion Design, that playlist. So basically it starts from introducing Cinema 4D's interface to everyone. So if you've not seen those videos, I would really urge you to go and watch them, because that way you'll be able to follow along on this live streaming session. Now the first thing I want to do is to model my can, and for me to do that I'm going to need a reference to get that done. Let me quickly mute this audio so I don't get sorry, give me a minute. Okay, all right, so first thing I want to do is model my can, and I'm going to quickly go and search. So basically I want us to do all of this together from the very beginning, from the very top. So I could have handed you guys a finished model of a can, but I don't want to do that. I want to give you guys the actual experience, working with an actual product from start to finish. So I'm just going to quickly share my Chrome, my browser screen, so you can go search for a reference together. Yes, I'm sharing my screen right now, and there it is. So I'm just searching for so this is just me searching for so I'm just gonna go to Google and I'm gonna search for can reference. It's search right there. So searching for a reference. So this is a very good reference right here, but I think, okay, let's just get this. Let's click on this link, let's see where it takes us. Okay, so we have this really nice reference here. We could take any of this, and I think I have to pay for this image, but basically I could just take a screenshot of this, and I'm just going to take a screen. Let me do a print screen of this. Okay, so I have a print screen of that, and I'm going to so I've taken a picture of that on my desktop, and I just want to go and search for that picture right now. Save pictures. Yes, so I have the picture right now, and I'm just going to quickly take this to Photoshop, and I'm going to share my screen in a bit. So file, open pictures, and yeah, so sorry guys, give me a minute. I'm just trying to load up my Photoshop screen. Okay, so this is my Photoshop right here, and I just want to quickly just do I just want to crop this image real quick, and I'm just going to crop this guy right here. So there we have it. We have our reference. So I'm going to upload this reference to the Telegram group, which is one of the reasons why it should be there, so you can easily get some of the source files. So I'm just going to quickly hit save. I'm going to save a copy. YouTube thumbnail, YouTube this can reference. So I've got that all saved up, and I'm going to turn this off, turn this off. So I'm going to quickly drop that on the Telegram group. Yes, so I have uploaded this can reference I just created. I've uploaded it on the Telegram group. So now the next thing is for us to import this reference we've just created into Cinema 4D. Now, like I said earlier, I could have just added a finished model of the can, right? But what I want to do is to equip you guys with the knowledge, of how to go about getting a reference, coming up with an idea, searching for concept online. Of course, I actually looked for a concept already, the video I want to recreate. Let me just quickly bring that up real quick. That's and so we're going to create everything from the bouncing bubbles back to the bubbles floating, to the can. So for the texture, we're going to plug in for texture. If you have design experience, you could just design your own texture and do a video about it. So next thing is to just load up this reference. Now the way you're going to load up a reference into Cinema 4D. Now let me just quickly go about over some basics in Cinema 4D. So to pan around your scene, you hold down your Alt button, click on your middle mouse button, and then you can pan around the scene, right? Now that's the same thing. If you go up here to this top right corner, you see this hand button here, which is the same thing as what I just did. So if you left click and hold it, you can as well pan around your scene. Now the next one is you hold down your Alt and then you press your left button mouse, and that allows you to orbit around your scene. While you're still holding down your Alt, if you take your hands off your left button mouse and you right click, you're able to zoom in or zoom out, right? And that's exactly what these other two buttons, that's what they do. So the second one at the top right corner, it allows you to zoom in or zoom out, which is your camera, while the other one, it allows you to orbit your scene, right? So quickly, if you just, without pressing any keyboard buttons, if you press on your middle mouse button it's very important you guys have a mouse. As a 3D designer, it's a must. You have a mouse, or you use a a pen pressure tablet. There's Wacom, there's cheaper ones. There are more cheaper ones in the options now, in the market now, that you can use, and they're equally good as well, right? So if you don't have a mouse, you use a pressure tablet. That works fine as well. But I'm using the mouse for now. I only use tablets when I want to sculpt or do anything, like that. So I'm going to press the middle mouse button. Now I have my four viewport view, which is mostly in 3D softwares like 3D Max, Maya, and all of that. So you could just press on the middle mouse button and get all these four view. Now on the front view right here, in older versions of Cinema 4D, if you click on the options, I think, or the filter, you have access to an option that you can use in loading up that image into the background, but for some reason it's not here. I don't know if that's moved somewhere else, but okay, so this is it right here. So under the view, you will see configure right here. I think in older versions it was an option, I can't really remember, but in this version of Cinema 4D, you could see it under view configure. But in case you can't even find it, you could just hit Shift V, right, and that will give you this option in your lower right bottom of the screen, this entire window. And what we want to do, right, is to move my mouse to the back here, the tab that says back, and I'm going to load up the image that we're using as reference here. So I'm just going to go to my YouTube folder, go to my live stream class ideas, and I'm going to select the can reference. Now we have loaded the can into the screen right here, right? So this is whenever you move your mouse cursor to any of these windows here and you press them, it's going to maximize that particular view. So if I come here, middle mouse button, click, it maximizes button. If I come here, same thing. If I come here, the same thing, right? And I can just move my mouse to also adjust the sizes of this viewport right here. Okay, so that's that. That is done, and I can as well reduce the size of this, so it doesn't take the entire. So I could just drop it down a bit right here, and now we can begin to model. Now when it comes to modeling, one thing I've learned is that there are different approaches to modeling, right? I decided to model this using a spline approach. I can as well decide to model this using like a using like a primitive, right? So primitives are like already made geometries in Cinema 4D. So if I hold down this, if I left click and hold this, I can see some primitives here. You have the cube, the cylinder, and a plane, a disc, a sphere, and the rest. Now one thing with modeling is, if you're using the primitive to model, it is best to start with the primitive that is closest in shape to that particular object you're trying to get, right? I can't be modeling like a box and then I'm trying to use a tube, right? That is a long way to start. So rather I'll use a cylinder here because that's the closest shape to a can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my cylinder, and there we have a cylinder. Now you can see a cylinder in all the 4 viewport. You can see it in your perspective. You can see it in your top view. You can see it in your right view as well, and you can see it in the front view. Now I'm going to just maximize this front view here, and I'm going to move this cylinder right here. Now what I want to do is to make sure that this cylinder matches the same size as this reference. Now if you look at this reference, this can here seems a bit tilted. That means it's not directly a front facing can, so it's a bit tilted, right? So the way I deform this cylindrical geometry might be a little bit off to what we have here, because this is actually not the front view and our cylinder is sitting directly in the front view. You understand? So if you look at the left hand side here, we have your move, we have the rotate, and we have the scale. So basically these are your basic transform tools. Now I shouldn't be going over all of this in this particular video because there's a separate playlist that has been dedicated to all those basics, but I'm probably guessing that there's some people joining us for the first time and they don't know these basics. So that's why I'm showing this again. So what I want to do is to okay, so we have these 3 transform tools. The first one is the move, allows us to move things on the X, Y, or the Z axis, and then we have the scale, which allows us to scale and rotate this any of the axes that we want. I'm going to undo that. We have this sorry, that was the rotate tool, not scale. And then the last one is the scale tool that allows us scale the size of an object. So right now if I select the cylinder in the object panel, which is at the right hand side of the screen in Cinema 4D, if you click on this object right here, at the lower bottom we have the attributes of the object. So basically we have the attributes, or maybe like the radius, the height segments, the rotational segments. Now what I want to do is to increase the height first so that it matches with the reference itself. So I'm just going to increase not the radius, the height. I'm just going to move it down. You're just going to be trying to be accurate as much as possible. It doesn't have to be completely accurate. So I'm also going to increase the radius so that it matches what we have. That's nicely done. I think that's fine. Can move it a bit here, and so we can reduce radius to maybe let's try 80. It is perfect. So now the next thing I want to do is at the top left corner here we have our display, and we want to select the Gouraud shading lines. This allows us to see both the objects and then the edges and vertices and polygons that forms the object. Now what I want to do is to reduce the amount of the rotational segments. Now, one thing I've also learned from my modeling experience is to start with lower topologies, like to start with objects that are not so dense, right? So basically what I mean is less edges and less vertices going on. So this is 16. I'm going to try and drop this to 6. Let me see how this is looking. So this is looking good, but 6 is a bit too much, so let me double this 6 and make it 12. So 12 is fine, right? 12 works, and yes, with 12 you can start to model. So with lower segments or vertices or edges, right, like some other software will put it, it makes it easier to easily deform this object without having to worry with so much segments going around, right? So you don't have to focus so much on the detail. As you work your way, you begin to add these details, right? So that's like the easiest way to model things in 3D generating. Now this rule does not apply to only Cinema 4D, right? It applies to basically all 3D softwares, basically. So what I want to do is to start deforming this object so it matches with this reference. Now I'm going to start with just making this object editable, right? And for me to do that, I'm going to right click on this object in the object panel area, and I'm going to go to make editable. Now the shortcut is C, right? So as you begin to use Cinema 4D, you start remembering all this shortcut. So I can either press it here, or I could just go to this place and just click C. Now when I click C, you see something happens. Now, let me undo that. Now check this out. At this area where my cursor is, it changes the icon from just a regular icon of a cylinder. Now it's now like a triangle with some points at each side. So basically it means that this is now editable, right? So, and that means I have access to the polygons. If you click this now, I can now select these polygons and I can move them and deform them anywhere I want. I have access to the edge as well. I could move the edge up and down. I have access to the vertices. I can move vertices up and down as well. So now what I want to start with is the edge, right? So I'm going to come here. I'm going to click this edge right here. I'm just going to move this edge right here to the top. I'm going to move this other lower edge here. I'm going to move this to the bottom, right? So that's that. And what I want to do is to come right here, this top edge here. I'm going to select everything. So the way I was able to select all of this is by I want to double click on this, and then it selects the entire loop right there. Now you could always go to your select tool and go to your loop selection. The shortcut is UL, and I could just move around here until I notice the white outline is selecting the entire top edges right there, and then I click it, and that's it. We've selected that edge right there. Now after selecting that, I want to click on the scale. I want to come here, right, and I want to just scale this right here. You see? So I'm just clicking on an empty space and then just scaling it down, and there we go. I'm going to select my move tool and I'm going to move it down here a bit. So now I'm having a slight issue as I move this down, right? This is staying up. I don't want that. So what I want to do is I want to switch to my vertex right here, and I'm going to select this brush selection. Make sure I press it down. I'm going to access the rest of the selection that way, and then I click on my rectangular selection, right? When I click on that, I'm going to go to my front view here, maximize this, and I'm going to just draw a selection around the top. So that way I'm going to select both all these vertices and the one in the center, and I can now move them together right here, just the side right here. I can as well just select my scale to scale it. So basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to match with this reference right here, just this reference right here. So scale it. Now you see it's beginning to match, right? So I'm going to do the same thing right here. I'm going to select this polygon selection, select all of this guy. Now when I select it from here, I want to make sure I go to my perspective, and I want to look around and make sure that I select everything that's looking good. So I'm going to come here, change my scale tool, and I'm going to scale it down. Okay, actually not that one, sorry, the one at the bottom, the lower one. And yes, so I'm going to scale this down right here first, There we go, just to match that reference. And then what I want to do is select this top one here, move it up a bit, right? Just move it up a bit to match with the reference. Then select the lower one again and then just move it up a bit. So now we're matching this reference. I could just scale this up a bit, right? So you could just eyeball this and move things around. There we go. Right, so now we're going to model this part, and what is left basically, I can scale this up a bit, is to model this lower side and then to model this upper side. Now if we take a look at this right from here, you can see it is already it's already looking like a can, right? So that means we are getting closer to our goals, right? So do we so far are we good? Do we have any questions? You could just type it out in the comment section. This is meant to be interactive. Any questions so far? Okay, so let's move on then. Okay, so no questions yet. All right, got you, Stanley. Okay, so the next thing is I'm going to now proceed to modeling the top part and the bottom part. So let's start with the bottom part for now. So I'm going to select the all of these edges right here, and to do that I can just click on this guy, the brush selection, and then just zoom in a bit and then put my brush selection right in the middle of this point here, and boom, that way I've selected my entire polygons. I can as well just click on this, hold it, then move it in a circular motion and then select that. So that's one way to do it as well. So what I want to do is to, now if you come here and the moment you hold down Control and then you move in a particular direction, it extrudes that polygon in that direction. Now notice that it is different if I'm not pressing down Control and I just move this down, see what happens, right? Just making like an extension. But if I hold down Control and then move in a particular axis, it creates like a new set of polygons right there. Whatever axis you move it to, you see a new set of polygons. Of course, you don't want to do that, so I'm going to undo this and I'm just going to go to my front view, holding down Control. I'm just going to move this down a bit. Now you will notice that it's not matching this reference perfectly. That's because this particular reference we've gotten is not in the front facing view, right? So this has been slightly tilted, so it's not going to completely match. So we should have paid attention to this while we're creating it. So let's go on. In future tutorials we can always look for the exact front facing can, and then we can use that. Now if you take a look at this left side of the reference, you can see it's giving us an idea of how the bottom is, right? And so we have this extrusion, which is what we've done. Then it seems like there's a beveled inside right here, like some depth going on there. So what I want to do is just going to move this down a bit some more, come to the front view. Now we see what we're getting, right? And what I want to do is to first of all, I don't like the way these edges here are connecting. Now when I model, I always like to maintain quads, right, as much as possible, only if there is no way to maintain quads. So by quads I mean that each of the polygons that are making up an object has to be four-sided. Now if you look at this one, for instance, this is four-sided. We have side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4. In this case, if you check out this is a triangle, not a quad. So we have just 3 sides. This side here, let me just select this edge too. We have this side right here, this side right here, and this side right here. You can see this has 3 sides. But what I want to do is I want to make it four-sided. Now for me to do that, I'm going to select all of these guys, and I'm going to delete it, right? So now I select all of them, I hit delete. Now sorry about that. So I've deleted this place and it's an open polygon right now. Of course we don't want to leave this open, so what I want to do is to right click around here, and I'm going to select close polygon hole. But very important, when I'm closing polygon hole, I want to make sure that I'm selecting the grid, right? But before that, if I close polygon hole, sorry, hold on, I'm going to select all of these by just double clicking on one of them, or you could just select loop selection, and I'm going to hold down control, and I'm just going to scale it just from an empty space. I'm not going to select any of this axis, just hold down control and scale down a bit. So you see what we're getting. You're getting some really nice bevel going on there, some really nice some new polygons are being created right there. So once we've done that, we can right click, and then we can now hit close polygon hole, and we can make sure grid is selected, and there we go. You can see now they are all quads, right? Even this one right here is quad. We go 1 2 3 4. Now if you had gone into basic and select this, most times it's just leave it blank, right? You have to start connecting all these lines yourself. But then I want to make sure this is selected, right? Make sure this grid is selected, and then I'm going to close polygon hole and quads, and then grid, and select this. There we go. So now we have this selected. Now if it's not working, you want to make sure that sorry, let me go back a bit. You want to make sure that in this basic, these quads are selected, then go to the grid and then close this up. That should work. So with that done, let's create this nice depth going on right here. Now I'm going to just select this, and this, right? So I could have as well just click on this brush selection and then just select round, whichever way that works for you. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is I want to right click, and so the reason I'm right clicking and all of that is I want to show you where all of these things are. A lot of times I don't do this. I just use the shortcut tools, because I've been using Cinema 4D for a long time now. So I just use the shortcut. It's way faster, and it makes you look more professional. But then the more you use it, the more you start noticing all these shortcuts written right there for you, and you could just it makes life easy. So what I want to do is to just bevel right now. So I'm going to I can as well input the bevel figures right here. So I could just come here, mess with this figure right here, and then come to the extrusion. Sorry, not that. On scroll down, make sure I click on apply. Then I can mix with the extrusion. Move the extrusion down here. I think I want to make it offset is set to 2. Yeah, I think this works. Yeah, and then I can click this. So now I don't know if I was a bit too fast at that point, so let me just undo that. First of all, I noticed that this section we've created right here is a bit too thick, so I'm just going to go to an empty space here, making sure all those polygons are selected, right? And I'm just going to scale this up a bit, yeah, just like that. Then I'm going to right click now, go to bevel, and I'm going to make offset to maybe 2, and then extrusion -8. We can always come back to to make these changes, right? So I'm going to click on new transform, and then there we have it, extruded. Now if you don't want to use values here, you can as well just manually do it yourself directly from the screen here. That one works too, using your left mouse button to push, and then to push and pull. So with that done, I would say that we've achieved this part, right? And I mean, to get exact same thing what they have, maybe probably want to experiment and all that, but currently is what we have. Now let me quickly throw this in a subdivision surface. So basically like a smoothed, like a modifier that's smoothing up an object in Cinema 4D. and that modifier is called a subdivision surface, right? So I'm going to click on subdivision here, and I'm going to make this cylinder a child of the subdivision surface. So basically to subdivide the surface and smoothen it up. So for that to happen, I'm simply going to drag this and drop it underneath this, right? And now we have this really nice surface. So already off the back is beginning to give us that nice look. But of course the can is looking pretty funny here. It's meant to be a bit more defined here. So I'm going to come back. Those are some of the details I'm saying that you had as you go. All right, so we could just make sure the edge selection is selected, right click, and I could use the loop part, and I could just turn up the subdivision here and then just go somewhere around here close to this existing edge and just drop a edge in. So now you see we have that clearly defined shape right there going on. I can as well come here, let me turn this off, and so what I want to do is I can select this two right here, so double clicking on this, hold down shift and double click on this too. So we have these two selected. Now what I want to do is to turn up the subdivision surface back up, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to bevel, bevel. I'm going to bevel this. So I'm just going to directly from the viewport, I'm just going to drag up and I can begin to bevel this, right? Now if I turn up this subdivision, you see what's really happening. This is what's happening. So basically I'm beveling these edges, that is splitting each of this edge group into two, and that way is going to clearly define those edges right there. I can as well decide to define these edges some more, but I think it's fine. You could go back and define that part if you want. I also want to draw a loop path around this area here, maybe on top, so that we have a clearly defined shape as well. So that's looking really nice. I'm going to turn this off a bit, and now you see with our model we don't have unnecessary edges flowing, right? So we just have the basic ones, the ones that are actually needed. We don't have extra edges going on here or there, which is really awesome when it comes to modeling. It's because the more your system begins to grow bigger, the less polygons you want to have, because then your system begins to slow down, right? So I'm going to double click on this. Now actually let me delete this guy first. So I basically want to do the same thing we did initially, right? So one tip is that when you click on this brush selection, you could press down your middle mouse button to make it smaller or make it bigger. If you make it a bit bigger, that way it becomes easy to select all this at once. So I could just move right in the middle, boom, select everything at once, right? So that's one nice tip there. And what I want to do is delete it. After deleting it, I'm going to select all of this again, hold down control, making sure my scale is selected, and I'm going to scale this down a bit. Maybe that's too much. Let's take a look at our reference quickly. Okay, so it's not so thick, so I'm just going to scale it down a little bit, somewhere around there, and I'm going to go to my right click, close polygon all. I'm going to close this, and boom, looking really nice. So if I turn on my subdivision surface, this is what we get, right? So this is already looking really great. We're already getting our can shape, right? And that's it. That's the end of the tutorial. I'll see you guys next week. No, I'm just joking. Let's continue. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the subdivision for now, and I'm going to start to so I'm just holding down shift and selecting all this part, and I want to start detailing. Now be careful as you select. Don't make the mistake of moving things like this. It's going to ruin your geometry, so yeah, of course you always can undo that, but then so what I want to do is go back here, and I want to zoom in a bit. Then you see what's going on. There's an extrusion, so it goes down, and then I think that there's a little bit of some depth around there as well, so we're going to try and recreate that. So I'm going to right click, I'm going to hold down extrude, and I can just manually from right the screen without using any of these figures here or moving any of these values. I could just move it up or down, and that's going to bevel it in or out. Sorry, that's going to extrude it in or out, but I'm just going to move it inward a bit, somewhere around here, maybe not too much. Maybe somewhere around here is fine. Yes, I think maybe that's a bit too much. Let me move it up a bit. Let's check the reference. That's how we have it. Okay, so let's move it up a bit. I mean, let's take a reference of an actual bottle and see for yourself. Okay, so there we have it, and what I want to do is to hold down control, scale it again a bit, right, and I want to scale it one more time. There we go. And then this is what I want to do. I want to select this right here, this entire. So what I've done is that I scaled it twice, right? Let me do that again so it's not mixed up. I'm holding down my control and then scaling this first, right? Then I'm scaling it the second time, right there. So what I want to do is to add a bit of depth right here. So I'm going to just click on the UL, which is the shortcut for loop, or you could just go to select. Sorry, go to select and click on your loop. Now I don't want to make the mistake of not saving. Very important, you make sure you save so I'm just going to go to my YouTube live stream, and I'm just going to hit save. So I'm saving that. So now I want to select this loop right here, and I want to click on extrude, and I want to push it in just a little bit. So you get that. So let me turn this back up so you have nice. So you see that nice little depth going on there. That's what we want to achieve. Alright, so that's done, and yes, we're looking really good. So the next thing that we want to do to complete this model is to detail up this top part here. So now let us detail this guy. Now one thing I can do is you could add this detail using a texture or a map. You can as well model this directly from here. So we are going to go for the first option, which is modeling this directly from this place. Alright, so for this I'm going to look for a nice can reference. Okay, I want to look for a nice can reference so we can use that. Hello?
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Birthday to you. Birthday to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
How are you celebrating?
Oh, I'm having a live stream session right now. I had to just pause.
I hope you did.
I'm almost done, Sha. In a few minutes, my paper.
Okay.
Alright.
Are there people in the session?
Eh?
Are there people in the session?
Yeah. About 10. About 10 people. Because I mute audio.
And then you tag back.
Alright.
Take care.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Alright, thank you. Okay, alright, so I was trying to look for a particular kind of reference, but let's just stick to this one. So what I want to do is I'm just going to come here, and I'm going to hold down, I'm going to right click and then click on the insert tool, and I'm going to insert this, just the one at the top. So let me just reselect this part again. Yes, I'm going to insert this guy right here. So basically I'm just holding down control. So you could have you could just easily hold down control and scale this down, or you could just click on the insert tool. Anyone works. They're basically still doing the same thing. So I'm going to insert this down here a bit, not too much. Let me take a look at the reference. Not too much. I'm going to push this down here, and yep. Okay, let me just push this down a little bit. Yes, taking a look at the reference, this works. All right, so now we are on to the next phase. We have to start moving around our vertices to get exactly what we want. So I'm going to select these two right here, and I'm going to scale. No, I'm going to scale this the other way around, this way, right here, and I'm going to come here. I'm going to scale this down just like this. There we go. Yeah. I'm going to also come here. I can move these guys, right? So I'm going to go to my top view right here. I'm going to move this guy in a bit like this, move it this way, and so that is going to give us that nice. So if I turn this subdivision surface on, I'm going to get that nice shape right here. There we go. So which forms that top part right here. So what I can do, let me take a look at another reference. So I'm going to quickly save this image and then load it up. Yes. Okay, so Shift V. Let's take a look at this reference. Okay, yeah, so take a look at this. All right, so we're trying to create that shape right there. So I think we might have made some errors there a bit. Okay, yeah, so that shape actually extra. So I quickly undid that, and I want to scale, which is the importance of using a reference, right? So check it out. So we're making this entire shape right here. Now this particular model, this can has a separate look to it, so but this was not what we started with, so maybe a bit you know, we've gone all the way to this one, so let's just stick to this model. But then we're going to use this top part to detail the one we have here. So now what I want to do is to select this guy, and I'm going to hold down control, scale them in a bit, just like this, and then I'm going to right click, and I'm going to hit on the bevel, and I'm going to bevel it in a bit, just like this, just like so. We did that. Okay, so I'm going to bevel it in. I can as well use okay, so now I'm beveling in the wrong direction. Let me just use this let me dial in the values here and click apply. Alright, but then I want to move the extrusion in the negative direction. That's a bit too much. Let me see. I think this is fine right there. Let me turn on subdivision surface. Yes, I think this is actually fine. This works. I hope that is pretty straightforward. If not, let me go back and do that again. So we started off by, you know, holding down control and, you know, creating an extra polygon just like so, and then we right click and then we beveled this, right? So I just typed in the value of 3 and then a value of -1, and then I clicked on apply, and then there we have it. So if we subdivide this, you know, we get this really nice shape going on already, right? So the next thing to do would be to add this extra detail right there, this little detail right here, and I'm going to do that by just coming in here, and let me select this guy. Yeah, I think this is closer to it, and I am going to pick this, and I'm going to hold down control and insert this a bit right here, and then I'm going to hold down Control and then move it inward a bit. Push this in, and then let's turn this back up, and then we have this really nice detail going on there, right there. So what I can do is I can create like an extra line that goes across this, right? And because I could come to subdivision surface right here, turn this down to say 1 right here. This is what we have when we turn it down to 1, right? And I can right click on this, and then I'm going to say current state to object. So by clicking that, it's going to create a duplicate object with that current state. So I'm going to hide this one by holding down Control, turn this off, turn this to switch off. So now we have this duplicated one with an extra polygon lines going on, and then we can begin to move these polygons, right? And we can begin to move this to deform these entire polygons. But what I want to do is I don't want to come here and start adding all this detail from this part, so I'm going to just undo that, and I'm going to continue with this guy. So right when we are done, we can come back and add all those detail that we are looking for. I can as well just come here, come here, right click on this and do a loop path around here as well, to create exactly what I'm looking for. We come here, so drop this right here, and then if I subdivide, everything still looks great, right? But I'm having this flattened area here that I don't want. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to find a way to draw an extra line here without having to go around this part at all. But for now, we can leave it the way it is, and then let us turn back this subdivision surface. I hope you guys are still connected though. Hello, if you guys are still connected, please let me know. Okay, welcome Jeff, nice to have you here finally. Alright, so let's continue. So I'm gonna head back over to Cinema 4D, and so quickly I want to add more depth right here. I feel we need more depth here, so I'm going to select this guy and all of this guy right here, and I'm going to just move this down a bit. Yeah, I feel we need that depth. Yeah, much better. So I can as well add some detail to this right now. I could go to my loop part, and I could turn off my subdivision surface and add some detail right here to this guy and turn it back on. This is what we get. Some really nice detail going on there. So yeah. Alright, so with that done, I want to finish up with this other side of this model here, this thing here. For this, I'm going to look back the previous. So I'm going to go back to my front view here, press Shift V, or you go to your view and turn on configure, and I'm going to open this up and load up the initial sample that we have, this guy here, and I'm going to use that to model this top here. Now for me to do this, I'm going to have to create a separate geometry entirely, so we're going to leave this one for now, and now we're going with this. So to start this particular model, we're going to start this with the polygon. So we're going to start with polygon. On the second thought, we're going to use a, let me see, what's the closest we could use here? We could use a cylinder. Yes, let's use a cylinder. So now we drop the cylinder into the scene. Obviously it's way too big, right? So for now, let us click on this initial model and just hide it. So I'm going to hold down Control. I'm going to this two little dots. I'm going to click it till it's off. Click it till it's off. So basically, what it does is the first one here, make sure it is hidden in the viewport. Well, the second one here, when you turn it to red, make sure it is hidden in render, right? So that's what that does. So now I'm going to bring this guy, the new cylinder we've created. I'm going to move it around here. Obviously it's facing the wrong way in the front view here, so I'm going to just click on this axis till I find the one that works. Okay, yeah, so Z works, and I'm going to just come here right in the middle. I'm going to make the radius smaller, right? So I'm making the radius really small. After making the radius really small, I'm going to just increase the radius a bit. Yes, so I want to make it match this. I want to make the radius match this external thing right here. Once that is done, I'm going to set the height to, okay, let me just leave it the way it is. I'm going to take this to about, let me see, yep, I think this works. 10, let me see, 8. It is not so bad. I could stick to 8. And what I want to do is I'll make this editable. After making this editable, I'm going to come to my polygon selection tool right there, and I am going to click on this entire selection, and I'm going to just hit delete, right, because we don't need all of that. I'm going to click on this one as well to make sure tolerance selection is turned on. I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to hit delete. So now we're left only with the top part. I'm going to click on the move tool, select my vertex, click on this vertex right here. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to bevel this vertex. Now beveling this vertex right here, see what's going to happen. Watch this view and this view. As we begin to bevel this, right, it creates that really nice outline there, which is what we want. And we can easily just click on the move tool, select the polygon surface, click on this surface, and hit delete. Boom, there we have it, right? We're getting a shape right there. And what I want to do now is to select these two edge right here, and I'm going to hold down Control, and on this front view I'm going to move it down here all the way to this point, right? And I'm going to hold down my scale. I'm going to scale it in the y-axis this way, so it's this way. You see that real nice. I'm going to hold down, go back to my move tool again, press Control, and move it down here again, right? And then at this point we want to scale it from the side, right? We have it nicely scaled there. Right now, if we put a subdivision surface and then make this cylinder a child of this subdivision, this is what we have, right? So you see what's going on, following that shape really nicely. So what I want to do is, let me reduce this subdivision to 1 so we can see what's going on. Then select the cylinder itself, and I can begin to, okay, so now there's a very important exciting way to model this that I want to show you guys. So I'm going to turn this off for now, right? And I'm going to let me click on shift view. I'm going to increase the transparency of that shift view there, so we can, just make the reference we're using a bit not too visible, so we can see our model well, which is very nice and handy to to have. What I want to do is to just use I want to select, where is it, the polygon tool, and I want to delete half of this polygon right here. I'm going to hit delete, so that is gone, right? So what I want to do is okay, as a matter of fact, I don't need to delete this, right? So I'm going to just turn this off on enable symmetry, right? By enable symmetry, basically everything you do on this other side of this model is going to be directly proportional to what's going to happen here. Now this is very, very useful and handy, especially when you do models like cars, human beings. So basically symmetry, I think they called it asymmetry model. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think asymmetric models, I can't really remember, but basically models that are symmetrical. So whatever is on the right hand side is also what's on the left hand side. So as humans, for instance, if you're modeling a human being, you don't have to model the entire human being. You just have to model the one side. Same thing with cars, right? If we just model one part of it, it's going to be equivalent to what's on the other side of it, right? So that's one of the tip I'm giving you. So if you select this guy and then click on this, start moving this guy, see what's happening. It's also happening to the other side of it. So I'm going to just click on this as well. I'm going to select this, move it here, move this a bit here, and I'm going to move this here as well. There we have it. So we have right there. So there we have. Now if you turn on your subdivision surface, you see now it's matching really nicely to the model that we have. Now we have a small issue, and that is there should be one hole right here, and we're going to create this hole in a bit. So I'm going to just select this guy, which is the vertex right there. I'm going to right click, I'm going to bevel, and I'm going to bevel this all this way. Yep, there we have it. Okay, so let me make it a bit this way, so that we have that hole right there. Let me do that again. There we have it. Okay, so with that done, so okay, so we have all quiet, which is looking at, let's turn this on, let's turn on the subdivision surface. So we see what we have there. This is looking really good. And so this is what we want to do. I'm going to select this guy, and if we go back to our front surface here, all we need to do is to click on this, and we're going to hit delete on that. So now we have that hole right there looking all nice. And what we can do is to okay, so there's another thing coming out from the bottom. Let me turn on the reference a bit more, because I can hardly see this now. So see what's going on. Okay, okay, I think pretty much that's it. That's pretty much it. Okay, all right, sorry about that. Okay, so now we have that all done, and next thing I want us to do is to add some depth into this. So by depth I mean I'm going to make it a bit thick, right? So let me just take this out. For me to add thickness to this, I can as well just select all the polygons, and then just hold down control and move it this way. So that's going to give me some depth right there. Then I can begin to close this. But then that's going to be some serious, that's going to be like a long way to do this, closing all these polygon nodes. So the easiest way to do this would be to go to this subdivision surface, hold it down, then we can see the closed surface, right? And you can take this and make it a child of the closed surface by dragging it on top. And for the closed surface, you want to make sure you turn these subdivisions to 0. I'm going to make thickness to 1. Let's see. Okay, so 1 is looking, yeah, I think 1 is looking good. I don't know if we can make it 1.5. I don't have the actual dimensions to this thing, so can do 1.5. There we go. And yeah, so that's looking really nice. So we might have a bit of an issue here, so I'm going to turn this off for now with this right here. So what I want to do is to just move this up a bit. Okay, so all right, so I noticed an issue when we had this to it, this extra, polygon line going on here. It's going to cause a bit of an issue. So what I feel that we can do, first of all, let me take this out, and I'm going to select the whole of this and just move it up a bit right here. I'm gonna move this guy down here a bit also. Actually, rather than moving this one at all, I'm just gonna move this guy down. Move this guy down a bit. So let's drop it in and let's see if it's the cause of issue. Okay, so I'm guessing because it's looking for a way to connect this, and I really don't like to have this kind of line right here. So what I can do is to, I'm going to select these two, right click on them, and I'm going to make this connect object and delete, right? And I'm going to find a way to reconnect this object, right? And one way I feel I can do this is to okay, so I'm thinking that I could pick these two, and then pull them right back down and connect them right here. But then I'm still going to get some quads here, and I don't want quads at all. So I'm going to try and just connect this to this guy right here. So I'm going to right click. Let's do that. Right click. I'm going to hit weld. So I'm just going to weld this to this guy. So let me do that again. So to weld, you want to make sure that both of these are selected.